Well, here they are. They're have done all their laundry. They made it home. Well, and now they're already on. Some of them are on the road. Look at Cathy Gauthier. She's actually driving out to Kelowna because it's just a beautiful drive in winter to go through the mountains and do all that stuff. I'm sure. No, you're actually you got a little ear issue, right?
Yeah, I do. Just long days in the arena, and so the best choice for me was to drive, and so road warriors, here we go.
Yeah, I'm glad you got a chauffeur there too. So we'll just clarify that you're not actually driving, you're in the
No,
car. But
I am
right.
in the car.
So let's look back first of all at the Scotties, and it was quite a run. I guess everybody sort of assumed that going in that Rachel Holman was going to be the team to beat, and nobody beat her. And Cathy, how do you sum up a performance that's good, topped off by the 100% game on Sunday night?
I just think that we're in a time, Bob, that we are seeing somebody that is just really, really special. We've seen some great teams over the time. The entire team is solid, but Rachel, like the doubles that she made just to get out of trouble. That first game against Anderson, she comes through a port that is just marginally there. She sees things. She's got angles lined up. She can throw up weight like nobody's business. It almost feels like it would have been a tragedy if she had not won because
Right.
they are just
Right.
that good. And Canada's best hope.
Russ, is there a sense that she's fearless when she sits in the hack? Like she's taking on high risk shots and making them so often, but you have to be absolutely confident and fearless to play those shots, first of all, don't you?
She certainly is now. There's no question about it. I think 3 or 4 years ago, they were one of the best teams in the world when she was maybe a B plus drawer herself. So once in a while, I saw a wee bit of fear. So some of those tough draws now, it's just bring it on. Just give me whatever I want. Just she can't wait for the other rock to stop. But she's probably cheering for a tough shot. It's unbelievable. It's and any athlete gets into that zone once in a while. How long she can keep it there is going to be the key. But that, like Cathy said, the shot through the port in the semifinal was just unbelievable. And Anderson did everything right there. She buried one, she froze it, thought she had a possible steal, and there the two goes on the board.
You guys have both played on teams that have been at the top, and I think Russ, I look back at your team with your brother and Wayne and how good that was, and Cathy, your team with Jennifer Jones, and I'm thinking, is there an advantage when you go into a championship with that distinction? Like, do people sort of change their games to play against you when you're that good, like Rachel Holman's team is? Russ?
Absolutely. And in a rare moment like she's in right now, and again, maybe knowing Rachel, she'll be like this for the next 20 years. But we were lucky enough for about a 2 year period where we knew we were probably going to win the game, and we knew they knew we were probably going to win the game. And it doesn't always happen like that. It's sometimes it's the reverse, right? But we won games, Bob, that we had no license to win. Like you'd be four down playing the eighth end, going, "Oh no, what's going on?" And the other team would find a way to cough it up. She's got that in her golf bag too, right? It's just unbelievable. I thought Carrie Anderson was the better team for probably six and a half, 7 ends in that game, and still wound up scoring 1 point in the whole game. That team, like it's
Kathy,
they're
sorry,
bulletproof.
Russ.
They're bulletproof.
Sorry.
Yeah, you know what, Bob? So Val Sweeting and Carly and Lauren wound up driving home. So they got to my place yesterday, and I was talking to them, and Val said that, I felt that for the first 6 ends, we actually were the better team. The thing
For
is with
sure.
a team like Homan, it's
Yeah.
not enough to be the better team for 6 ends because
Right.
they will be the better team for 10.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's unbelievable how good they are. Well, let's move on to the Montana's Brier, and that is starting very shortly here. And I got to tell you a quick story. The last time the Brier was in Kelowna was 1968, and Ron Northcott won. And in one game he played against, I think it was the no, New Brunswick team. The ice was so bad that in the 10th end there were 16 hogged rocks. How about that? Not one rock got across the hog line because the ice went down because television lights were up. That's my trivial fact for you.
Why
For
are you putting that out in the universe, Bob?
my point is, and I've asked a couple of player interviews this week that we're going to have on the show coming up. I've asked them that to me the ice in Thunder Bay and the rocks, I don't know which is the combination of us, certainly earlier in the week were pretty tricky. And I think that's not a bad thing. Kathy?
You know what? It's the cream will rise to the top of the crop. Teams want consistency, but when you don't get consistency, your ability to deal with the hand that you're dealt, it does make it a bit of an equalizer because the teams that are better can play the precision shots, and when it's not good, they can't. But they didn't fight it, and the ice did get better. You have the two best ice makers at the Brier. You've got Greg Owasco and he's got Little Mark working with them. So even if things go offshore a little bit or different, I think they'll get back on track pretty quick.
Russ, is it good to maybe have it not so perfect every once in a while? I don't mean all the time, but you go to some of the Grand Slam events and it's going to curl exactly this much and the speed is going to be exactly this
Right.
much. And is it good to sort of keep them on their edge a little bit?
Yeah, you're right. You're onto something, Bob. I think it's absolutely huge. Now, and so is Cathy. Consistency is key, but it can be consistently tricky, right? It might maybe more curl going one way than the other. Maybe it's it slows down in the middle a little bit. But you got good rocks. You got like let's face it, perfect brooms, left and right distance, perfect ice. The rocks are so lively. It's to the point now, if you don't curl 92%, you just might lose one of those big games. So I would love to see a few tricks in there. Now, obviously, maybe 16 hard rocks for Ron Northcott's mom, somewhere in between, obviously. But it has to be consistent. But I love the fact that maybe one side's swingier than the other. Maybe it's 6 feet of curl on one side, 4 on the other, and that really plays into the strategy, the ice reading, and who figures it out first.
All right, so we had a clear favorite going into the Scotties Tournament of Hearts. Do we have a clear favorite going into the Montana's Brier, Russ?
No, no, that's the amazing thing for me. It's been Gushu, and usually Gushu in the last few years. And you look at the team's records. The top four: Gushu, Dunstone, Jacobs, McEwen. Is just have to throw a blanket on all four of them. And I would think during the round robin, I can't even tell you who's going to come anywhere between first to fourth, but they're all going to be in the playoffs. Once they get the playoffs, Mr. Gushu's hard to beat.
Yeah, he seems to rise to the occasion, doesn't he? Kathy, what do you think? Is there anyone that stands out for you?
Not at all. And I think that the reason for that is this is where curling became a hot mess this year with all of the changes in men's teams. And almost to a person, they've all not gotten any better. Gusha going 0-4 in his last slam, that's absolutely unheard of. And so you go in with a lot of changes to these teams. The one team that maybe is a bit of an exception to that is Matt Dunstone, because even though he made a change, he reunited the Harnden brothers, and EJ's playing for the love of the game again with his brother. So to me, if there's a team that's got a bit of an edge with all these changes, it might be Matt.
Is there a team outside of those four that you look at and you go, they could be a kind of an interesting story? Is it like a John Epping or I don't know, someone in there that sort of sticks out a little bit maybe that like we're going to have, if those four go, we have two more that will get into the playoffs. I'm kind of thinking about that. Kathy, anything for you that sort of maybe sneaks up?
Yeah, I think that Epping has had a really good year. There's no question. I also think that Rylan Kleider is one of those guys that cannot be discounted. He showed really well at the mixed doubles. He plays with a lot of confidence. He's got a really strong team. Are they going to win it? Maybe not. But are they going to beat a lot of teams that aren't expecting that kind of performance? Yes. And the other guy that I circled that's seated way too low because of CTRS is Reed Carruthers, who got BJ Neufeld in the whole mystery scramble this year. And I was at the Viterra in Manitoba. BJ won for that team. He was unbelievable. And he's going with a bit of a vengeance because of being cut. That team is going to make some noise.
Russ, what about a Cooey? Like they sort of showed up late in the year. I don't know. I mean, is there or anybody else in the lineup that's sort of you want to keep an eye on?
Yeah. Kui obviously made some changes too, and it didn't pay dividends early. But that's Kui. You're right. He could have the worst year ever, and he's going to be there because it's the Brier, and that's what Kui does. He's all about he's got another level when he gets to the Brier. Is the team good enough to win? Probably not. But Kui's going to steal some games, and that's another one in there. But I think Cathy's onto the big one there with BJ Neufeld. that's a sleeper pick for sure. If assuming Crothers isn't exhausted from, think what Reed Crothers has been through. You know, the day before the Scotties starts last year, Brienne tests whatever she tests because she was guilty until proven innocent, right? And he's gone through that whole mess for that year, the whole year, what to do. There's 7 different players in the team. Then same thing with him. He starts off last year with Jacobs as his 4th rock thrower. His team's changed 9 times also. And maybe the curling gods are finally going to smile on the guy because he picks up at the 12th hour Neufeld. And BJ, as Cathy just mentioned, he is a difference maker.
All right, let's. I can't let you go without asking you the big question about broom. As I said, I'm not calling it Broomgate. I'm calling it Broom Haha because John Cullen got Broomgate. I think he's got it copyrighted. But you know, it just seems like when I talk to these players, they are absolutely frustrated. And I know the Brier guys have got an agreement. All 18 teams are going to play with a white foam. But man, is it? It's there's a lot of kind of I don't know what you might call it, but hard-edged talk going on behind the scenes here, isn't there, Cathy?
Yeah, and you know, the WCF did really notional testing and said, no, they're all fine. I think that we need to just say props to our men's teams who have all said, let's make this about throwing ability, not just brushing. The thing that concerns me the most is that in Moose Jaw, the winner is going to be playing, are going to be playing against teams from all across the world that will be using those brooms because they are legal and will be legal till the end of the season. So does that put you at a disadvantage if you're not playing in the biggest event to get to the show without them? That is a concern.
Russ, do you think we should all just go back to rink rats?
Exactly. Absolutely. You think about it, the glass half full or glass half empty, I should say. The foam they're using now, which they're only agreed to use it because the curlers were sporting enough to get together and do it, as opposed to the people that are supposed to be running the sport. The foam they're using is an upgrade from last year's foam, which they found out, oh, whoops, last year's foam was too aggressive. So we've got an iteration above what really wasn't legal at the start of the season. Like it's silly season for sure. Brouhaha. And obviously, we have to come up with something that maybe the World Curling gets together and says, "Look, this is what you're using," and
Yeah.
then we're all on the same page. It's the only way around it.
Yeah, Cathy's right about all these, players using different rules to win different championships. Something that, by the way, Russ Howard did one year using, I think it was the provincial, the Brier, and the World Championships. You won with different 3 rock rules, 4 rock rules, whatever it was,
Yeah,
wasn't it? Right?
yeah, you're absolutely right. 3 in the Ontario's, 0 at the Brier, and we blanked. I think we blanked 7 on average, 7 ends a game, and then we get to the Worlds, and it's the 4 rock rule.
Never a dull moment when it comes to curling, is there?
No.
Well, we will be listening and watching you two at the Montana's Brier. Safe journeys, Cathy, on your road there. When will you make it there? Sort of middle of next week? Is that
tomorrow? No, it's a 2-day journey. We're doing 12 hours today to Calgary, and then the final 8 into Kelowna tomorrow.
And Russ, have you managed to do your laundry? Will you have that done before you have to take off again?
Maybe.
Sit far away from him, Cathy. We'll be watching for you two. Thanks very much again. Take care.
Thanks, Bob.